In a world where we're constantly bombarded by information, by things we have to do, by stresses, anxieties and worries, sometimes we just wonder, how can we clear our minds? And that's what I want to address in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot, it's me Matt here, and today I want to talk about how to clear your mind. So, in today's busy world, it can be really easy for our mind to get full of clutter. And most of us know that the way to clear it is to take some time off and relax. But the thing is, we often go about it the wrong way. You see, when we say that we're going to go and relax, what do we end up doing? We end up going on Facebook and scrolling our feed, or we end up playing some mindless game on our phone. We end up doing things that actually occupy our mind even more, because we can't kind of bear the thought of our mind being empty, of our mind being still. We have to, procrastinate in some way. We have to fill it up with information. We have to be doing something to keep it busy. And what we're not realising is that by keeping it busy, we're never getting this relaxation. Sometimes we actually have to be able to switch our mind off to actually truly be able to clear it of all that bad stuff that's going on inside it, all those stresses and so on. So how do you do it? How do you actually get away from it? Well, the trouble with it is when you actually try to clear your mind, it's like when you tell someone to stop panicking. It doesn't really work. When you tell them to stop panicking, it just encourages them to panic more. And why is that? Well, the reason is that your brain just doesn't have an off switch for these things. You can't just add the word stop or don't or no or whatever to make your brain switch these things off. It doesn't work like that. If you tell someone not to think, there isn't a thing that just goes, okay, my brain is off. The way that you actually avoid thinking and clear your mind, is by kind of distracting yourself from that. And, we try to do that. We try to distract ourselves, but the problem is we distract ourselves with the wrong things. We distract ourselves with things that do occupy our mind even more and get us even more caught up in thought and caught up in just, mindless stuff. And so the way to actually clear it is to distract yourself not by these activities, but just by directing your focus outside of your mind. And one of the easiest ways to do this, the typical way of doing this basically, is through meditation, where you actually focus on your breathing. Rather than focusing on what you're thinking, you direct your attention to your breath, and you watch your breath coming in, and then you watch it coming out. And every time, every so often, you're going to find yourself thinking again. And naturally people, worry at this point, but there's no reason to worry. It's natural for your thoughts to come up. And what you do to clear them is you just return back to watching your breathing. And you keep doing that, and you set out some time each day to meditate for a few minutes, and you'll find that your mind is clearer throughout the day as well, and not just when you're doing this. Because it's like our mind kind of gets into this kind of loop or spiral of getting out and out of control, where, the more it does it, the worse it gets. So the more your mind gets active and gets, caught up in all of these stresses and all of these worries and stuff, the worse it continues to get. It doesn't, ever get any better. It just continues to get worse until you actually have that break. Now, naturally, we get a break every night when we go to sleep, which does relieve some of the stresses of the previous day. But, if you're building up more and more of these stresses, if you're doing more and more mindless things, working really hard, worried about different things, then it's just going to still get worse over time, because sleep alone isn't enough to get rid of it all. So, by meditating a few minutes each day, or just taking moments to actually do it in different ways, like, for example, appreciating art, just actually, rather than thinking, looking at something and appreciating it for what it is. Or going out in nature, for example, and just taking a look at what's around you. Maybe, going for a hike up a mountain and, taking some photos, stuff like that. Basically, you need to get yourself out of your mind and into something else, direct that focus elsewhere. Now, another thing that you can do is to cut out these influences that I mentioned before. And by this, I mean the things like those mindless games on your phone, sitting on Facebook all day, procrastinating in every which way there is. When you do these things, it makes the situation worse, because you're kind of so caught up in this little activity that's so repetitive that it just kind of furthers that spiral over and over and over again in your head. And it's like if you've worked for, it's like when you've worked for 10 hours doing a really repetitive job, yeah? You know how you feel after that when you've done something so repetitive all day, and then you finally stop? It's like your brain is just messed up from doing that same thing over and over. And so when you're perhaps playing a repetitive game or something that's even more repetitive than that job, obviously it's going to have that same effect. And just because it's fun doesn't actually get rid of that aspect. So, you know, cut down on those things that are really repetitive and really kind of time consuming and just suck, you know, the energy out of you. If it's something that you have to do for work, that you know, it's something productive, then do it there. But when it's just something that you're trying to do to waste time and to occupy your mind, that's something that you need to cut out. Anyway, I hope this helps you guys a bit with clearing your mind. And I really do recommend meditating every day, even if it's just, you know, literally 1 minute every day. What I mean by that is, you know, if you don't feel like meditating one day, then you don't have to, you know, meditate for 20 minutes, but just meditate for, you know, a minute. And when you do feel like meditating more, meditate for 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes. And you'll find that it massively, massively impacts your life and how clear your mind is from day to day. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe up there because we've got regular videos that come out multiple times a week. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Also, if you haven't already, you should follow me on Twitter, and if you have any questions and stuff, you can actually direct that to my Twitter as well. My Twitter is @Tipharot. And if you want to keep watching, then check out the video that's linked on screen. Thanks for watching guys, take care.